Good morning, my History 125 students. This is your Professor Donald Earl Collins. It is Wednesday, May 20th, 2020. Welcome to the opening day of Technological Transformations, or the History of Science and Technology around the world. This course was originally supposed to be a hybrid course where we met face-to-face on Tuesdays from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the University of Maryland College Park campus in Hornbeck Library, first floor. That is obviously not going to happen as we are in the midst of a coronavirus pandemic with no foreseeable end, regardless of whether you have stay-at-home orders or not practicing social distancing or somewhere in between. Anyway. So I just want to take a few minutes to go over the changes in the course and at UMGC since basically since March in the last couple of months. For one thing, the week that we have is a Wednesday to Tuesday week. The academic week, according to UMGC, does not match the weeks the way we normally trace them, which is usually a Sunday or a Monday. Sunday usually for some people is the first day of the week or the last day of the week. Right? It can be Sunday through Saturday, it can be Monday through Sunday, but generally that's how people understand their work week, their calendar weeks, etc. UMGC has decided to move away from that to a Wednesday, Tuesday schedule, which pushes deadlines in the course to Sundays and Tuesdays. Sundays for you to post your initial responses and discussion, Tuesdays to submit. There are 2 responses to other people's initial posts in discussion for each week. Tuesday is also the deadline for submitting whatever assignments are due, whether it's the syllabus quiz, the discussion protocol quiz, the excuse me, your academic integrity certificates, your annotated bibliography and your annotated bibliography. These are all things that, that's the date thing has kind of changed a bit. Your syllabus should reflect that. Also, what's changed are the types of assignments you're doing. You have an annotated bibliography due at the end of week 4. So that's June, I think that's June 14th. Don't quote me on that. The syllabus has the more accurate date because I already filled out all the dates on that weeks ago. And then you have something due July 7th, I believe, which is somewhere around July 7th, which happens to be your what is it? The annotated bibliography. These are things I'll go over in more detail weeks 3 and 4 and weeks 6 and 7. I already have pre-recorded lectures for the online version of this course, by the way. I'll be posting these just as I would for an online course starting with week 1 today. So keep that in mind. I say that in light of the next thing I'm about to say, which is, so are we going to try to do synchronous teaching, meaning that we do something through Skype or Zoom or some other means for this course? And we'll try. Let's put it that way. I've only heard from a couple of you so far of the 18 or so students that are registered for this course as of this morning. So I have no idea if most of you have adequate Wi-Fi or internet access, have good times to virtually meet during the times that the course is actually scheduled. But I want you to understand a couple of things in this. For one, an online course, as you well know, for those of you who've been taking courses at UMGC for a while, it's not the same as a hybrid course or a regular standalone face-to-face course, right? People's attention spans are different. Looking at someone on screen is not the same as being in a classroom with a group of people and with your professor in front of you, no matter how boring that professor is. You have the possibility of literal interaction with other people around you. Right? Seeing their faces, hearing them comment, hearing me comment, back and forth, a give and take. It's not clunky. You don't have to worry about your electricity going out or a glitch in the system, so to speak. With Zoom, with with Skype, with these other means, the truth is that if I were to try to run a standard 2 hour and 20 minute, 2 hour and 30-minute class, because I tend to run from 7 to 9:30, including about an hour and 15 of lecture, you guys would, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't work. Let's put it that way. The research shows, and my actual experience teaching at UMUC and in other universities doing this shows, it just doesn't work that well. So, what I'm going to propose is this. I'm going to propose some times and dates to you to do this. Now, a couple of you have come back to me and said you can do Tuesdays from 7 to 10. That's great. You know, then you know that you will be uninterrupted for a 3-hour period at home, just as you would not be interrupted by coming to class. That full time frame does not work for me. The ideal times for me are actually during the work day before 5 or 6 p.m. So anytime really between 10:30 and 6 is the ideal time for me to actually teach virtually. For one, but if it turns out that most of you actually can free up time so that your family doesn't bother you between 7 and 10, I can try to make that work. But even if I do make that work, we will not be meeting for 2.5, 3 hours. You'll have my lecture video lectures to work with. You already have the OERs, the online readings that UMGC provides. So I'm proposing that if we do some sort of Zoom time or Skype time, then it would be, if it is on Tuesday, it would be from 7 to 8 or 7 to 8:15, because I'm home, and being at home teaching through Zoom or Skype is not the same as actually going to a classroom, where my wife is home, my son who's 16 is home as well, and so I can't just cordon them in their rooms and say, do not bother me for an hour and 15 minutes, because believe it or not, that's actually dinner time in my household. So there's no way for me to do the full time. And even if I could do the full time, it's not pedagogically sound to do 3 hours of boring lectures and trying to run a discussion with folks you've never really actually met online. So hence the hour and 15 minutes, which will be focused on whatever questions you have for me regarding the readings, regarding discussion, regarding assignments. Each week we can do an hour 15, or we can do we can, in addition to that, we'll also do discussion, where I propose a question that's different than the actual questions you'll answer online. A more general question to get you to talk through the readings, to get you to figure out if you do have questions for me around what is and isn't progress. What does progress look like in terms of technology and science? How do things progress in terms of the history of science and technology across different human societies, right? Those kinds of things. That would be the question for week 1, for instance. So, keep that in mind. So what I'm proposing is if Tuesday doesn't work for everybody, if everyone, first and foremost, if there are people who actually do not have internet access at home, or Wi-Fi access, or reliable access, you need to let me know that right away. Send me an email. Don't wait for Ask the Professor. Send me an email, donald.collins@faculty.umgc.edu, and let me know. Because if there are folks who have that issue, then there's no way I'm going to run a full synchronous online tool when people don't have access. But if you do have access, here are times I would propose different times, but ideally for me, knowing what my schedule looks like, Tuesdays from 7 to 8 or 8:15 is probably not ideal. I could probably do earlier times or later times depending on what people tell me, right? I could even do a weekend. I can even do Saturday mornings or Saturday mid-morning, say between 9 and 12, for instance, so that we don't have to necessarily meet during the work week for those folks who, obviously are still working. Otherwise, the only other time that I can propose that would really make any sense to my schedule would actually be on Mondays. Monday, sort of going through stuff on Mondays instead of Tuesdays. Because the other problem with Tuesday, of course, is with a Wednesday to Tuesday schedule, the week is over by the time we actually meet. So week one ends just as I'm having the discussion about week one, right? Which means I probably should be discussing week two with you more than week one, if that makes any sense, right? This schedule change is kind of nutty in a way, so keep that in mind. And that brings me to the other thing I want to make sure that you're aware of, and it's sort of a two-parter, then I'll shut up, which is even more so than normal with a UMGC course, I need you to be self-directed. We all need each other to be self-directed around this course. With everything that's going on, pandemic, 16%, 17% unemployment at the moment, food access issues and so on. It's easy to get sidetracked of what's going on with a class because, it's just a class, Grade might be important, but it's just one class versus your life. And so please be self-directed. And that includes letting me know if you're having issues. Let me know if you can't get work done. That I have deadlines because I'm supposed to as part of the job. But it also means that if you need more time, let me know. I will more than likely give it to you. More than likely meaning 85% chance I'll probably say okay to whatever you propose in terms of how much time you need to finish an assignment or to post your week one or week two or week three post for discussion and whatnot. I just want to make sure everyone does as well as they can. So that's something to keep in mind. And connected with that is the other thing. There are a lot of things in this course that were not designed by me, that are designed by a committee of UMGC professors in the history department. Some of that includes me in terms of the discussions. Some of the discussion questions are actually mine. A lot of them aren't. The readings are not my picks. So if you do have a glitch or an issue, the only thing I can do is you can make me aware of it and I can report it. And that's about as much as I can do. If there are any other IT issues, you need to contact the IT department at UMGC or UMGC 360 to have them fix that. Those kinds of things. But the assignments are not designed by me. The grading scale is not designed by me. The deadlines, I have some wiggle room around, but generally not designed by me. Certainly, the Wednesday to Tuesday schedule is not mine. This is not me making excuses. This is me making you aware of the fact that I am not your one-stop shop for every issue that goes on regarding the course, because the only thing I'm doing is facilitating them, basically giving lectures, lecture recordings, grading, and running discussion. That's basically my job in terms of this course. There are other issues that might come up, and a lot of those other issues are beyond my control because I didn't have a hand in designing them, and I don't have a hand in fixing them. So I want you to keep that in mind too as you contact me about different questions you might have that might not be answered in the syllabus or answered in the discussion instructions or answered in any instructions I give you online or via video. So, okay. That said, that's my little mini pep talk for week one and for the course. I really do hope that you actually get a lot out of the course, that you actually find it interesting and enjoyable, even as we're going through all that we're going through. So, all right, well, let's get started.